Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on here real quick and explain to you how Current Events Fridays are going to work. All right. This is a way that I like to end the week, and it's a really refreshing way to end the week because I feel like Monday through Thursday, we hear things going on in the news and through social media, and I'm dropping things here and there. And then on Friday, it really gives us a chance to sit down and look into it further and talk about it and really wrap our heads around what happened this past week. All right. So, on Fridays, we will sit in a circle, or for my cyber guys, we'll join our Google chat and or Google Meet, and two people, anywhere from 1 to 3 people, depends on how many people are in the class, but 1 to 3 people will be responsible for sharing current events with the class. Now, they know this well ahead of time. So if you're presenting on a Friday, you have all week to prepare and the weekend before. So it's plenty of time to find a really cool story to talk to us about, okay? Now, you do not have to turn anything in, all right? But that being said, you need to do the work to prepare. So, for example, even though you don't have to turn anything in, I ask that you find your story and you share it with me as early as possible, like Tuesday, maybe Wednesday at the latest, because for a number of reasons. First of all, if the story is just not a great story to talk about for whatever reason, which we can get into in a second, I'll probably tell you to try to find another one. And then you still have enough time to do that. Or maybe you show me your story. I'm like, oh my God, this is a great story. In fact, this connects with this. You should really look further into this so that we could talk about that too. It gives you time to do that. The last reason is because I don't like it when more than one student has the same article to present to the class, right? Then we're just kind of hearing the same thing twice. So if you come to me on Tuesday with your article and I approve it, and then your classmate comes to me on Wednesday with the same article, I'll tell them they have to find another one. So it's sort of like a first come, first serve. Okay. So you're going to want to find your article, share it with me as soon as possible so that I can either approve it or encourage you to find another one. Now, we already talked in our What is News activity the other day. We talked about what's good news and what's bad news, right? The good news is information that we need and stories that you think will encourage the class to have a discussion, something that we can learn from and, exercise our minds a little bit, right? Stories that are not so good would be those shocking stories, like just the sad, awful, gory stories that are just sad to talk about, and we don't really gain anything from talking about them. And the fluffy stories, right? Like firemen save kitty from a tree, or weather, or sports scores, or celebrity gossip. Now, there's always exceptions, right? A crazy scandal in the NBA, that's different than a sports score. Or a hurricane is about to slam into New Jersey. That's different than a sports score. That's something worth talking about. So get your stories proved. You kind of know the guidelines, but if I look at it, I can give you a sure, yay or nay. Once I approve it and once we talk about it a little bit, it's your turn to prepare. So I've had students make note cards, right? You don't have to turn anything in, but note cards are nice because you just kind of put some key points and key ideas and they help you remember what you want to talk about when you're presenting. What I like to do and what I encourage people to do is find your article and print it out. This might be more difficult for the cyber guys, but we can certainly figure out a way for you to do something similar. But I like to print out my article. You can see I have some highlighting here. I like to highlight the things that I want to talk about. I like to write notes for myself. So if there's a word that I forget how to pronounce, or I forget what it means, or I know something else that happened and I want to remember to mention it, I'll put that in the margin somewhere so I don't forget when I'm presenting, okay? Sometimes I even like to label the 5 W's. So I'll circle the name and I'll write who. So I remember to mention, like, that's who this story is about. Or, the where it happened, so that I remember where it happened and I don't forget to mention that in my little presentation. Okay. All right. So I guess I'll run through one so we can see how this goes. So you can see what I'm looking for. Okay. The article that I found has to do with a new scientific advancement by Elon Musk. Now, if you don't know Elon Musk, he is the founder of Tesla and SpaceX. He's like the Einstein of our times. He is just incredible. So on August 28th, I got my article from CNBC. On August 28th, he demoed for the first time this new device through his new company called Neuralink. Now, what this device does, he showed it with 3 pigs. What this device does is it's an implant into the skull, and it has these it has these threads that are 10 times thinner than a human strand of hair. And what it does is it makes connections between the brain and computers. So he's hoping that eventually this will sort of bridge the divide between the human brain and artificial intelligence. I don't know if that's awesome or absolutely terrifying. Anyway, so he brought these 3 pigs in, and it says here they were of different, varying levels of interest in cooperating. But he said that it was great. Within seconds, they were showing, or I should say within a few minutes, they were showing like neural activity. So what he's hoping is that this will help them to treat brain injuries, trauma, and like I said, make that connection between the human brain and artificial intelligence. They've tested this on 19 different animals and robots so far, and they've had an 87% success rate. That's pretty incredible. His hope is that this process, which is called getting a link, like, oh, I'm going to go get a link, the process of embedding this into the brain, or the skull rather. And I should say too, here's a picture. It's about the size of a coin. I don't know if you could see it in his fingers right there. It's about the size of a coin. And they're hoping that this procedure will be done by a robot in less than an hour and not have any blood involved. And in the end, it will just cause a little tiny scar. So it's pretty unbelievable. He's hoping that it will restore limb function, improve human movement, resolve issues with eyesight and hearing, and help with diseases like Parkinson's. Now, those are some pretty bold predictions. I shouldn't say predictions, but like promises that he's trying to make about his new Neuralink, which he calls a Fitbit for the brain. But who knows? Elon Musk is pretty incredible, so maybe he'll be able to do it. Oh, he also talks about how they want to focus on memory loss, blindness, and paralysis. And just like anything else that's new, there's always going to be somebody who says, yeah, but, right, the other side of the coin. There's this guy named Chad Bouton. He is the vice president of advanced engineering at the Feinstein Institute for Medical Research. He called CNBC and he said he had a couple of concerns. The first one really just being, or I shouldn't say the first one, but like the primary concern is really just infection. He said, this is an invasive procedure. You're putting something into the skull. This could absolutely get infected, which could be dangerous. But on a positive note, he's saying that he's hoping that Neuralink will focus on the most severe people with the greatest need. So people with severe disabilities. He also made a prediction that even though, this is made and it's been demoed on pigs and it's had an 87% success rate, he predicts that it will not be used on the general public, people like you and me, for at least a decade. So this is a long way off in terms of like everybody, what did they call it? Getting the link, right? But anyway, I just thought that was pretty cool. There's also some cool pictures here, which I should say, if you ever want to show us, wrong way. If you ever want to show us pictures of your story, just email it to me ahead of time. So when you're presenting, I can have it all pulled up. We don't have to first go looking for it. Okay. Even some videos, if you have cool, like short videos that we can include, that would be great too. All right. So you may have noticed that I looked at my notes. I used my notes, but I did not read my article. Do not read your article to us. There is nothing more boring than somebody reading a news article out loud. If you do that, what it's going to tell me is that you really didn't prepare, or you were a little nervous and you could use more practice. So we'll just reschedule you for another week. Okay. Last thing, how is this going to be graded? I have a rubric, which is in Canvas, but essentially, were you prepared? Did you become an expert on your story? And with your presentation, did you make some eye contact and talk to us, or were you reading to us? All right. Easy peasy. So if you have any questions, just email me or stop in and see me during resource. Make sure you get your articles approved with me early on. And I think you're going to find that Current Events Friday is one of your favorite days of the week. All right. See you later.